We are honored to have with us right now Mayor Jeff Tarte, the Mayor of Cornelius. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming up here today.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming back on the show. We had you on almost a year ago.
I'm surprised you let me back on.
So what has changed in Cornelius over the last year?
Well, the economy is the big thing that we're seeing, you know, the tug on the businesses and stuff, and the housing market has obviously been impacted in this period of time. But there's still a lot of activity going on. We're very busy as a community.
Now, on a positive note, the construction finished up on Catawba.
Catawba is open and running, and we've had so many compliments on that project. We've
It's
also
so much better.
It is a huge improvement.
Everybody loves it, and we've also going to be here in the fall opening the brand new high school, Huff High.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an outstanding new facility.
Where exactly will that be?
It's down by Bailey Road Park.
Okay.
Yeah, and the new principal, Terry Cockerham's in place. She's been hiring her teachers and her coaches and moving forward, so we're excited.
Now, connectivity for that, because now I know you can cut through and come in right to the high school from that community that's off of
Bailey
Davidson
Glen.
Concord. Yeah, Bailey Glen. And then it's also going to cut through from Barnhart Road, right?
Eventually it will. That's
Okay.
correct. They are working on that now.
Okay.
Now, talking about connectivity, are there plans to change exit 28? I hear some.
Well, there is. Exit 28 is going through something that's called a diverging diamond design.
Okay.
And there's actually only one in the entire United States, and it's in a community in Missouri right now.
Okay.
And actually, NCDOT has embraced it, taken the design, and it's actually looking at the engineering work to convert Exit 28 into that diverging diamond. And it's one of the first things in years that NCDOT has said, let's do it quicker rather than later with all the other road priorities.
Can you describe that in detail? Like what
Well,
exactly that is? Do you know?
I do know, and I don't know if I could describe it. You can draw it, but what's unique about it, or very unusual, and people first react hesitantly, is as you go over the bridge, instead of the normal traffic, so if I'm going, let's say, westbound. So I'm coming from Town Hall going towards the new West Catawba area. Actually, when I cross the bridge, instead of going over the two right lanes, as I get to the bridge, I'm going to divert and go down the two left lanes. And so for those turning onto the interstate, you just keep going right across the interstate and drop down on, and then you would hit a light on the other side and wait to convert back to the other side. And it actually has a significant improvement in traffic flow. And that's the issue with lights and so forth being so close to the interstate exchange there.
Now, will Catawba construction continue to the other side now of Catawba, or?
Well, actually, the other side won't. We will leave that, because we've got granite curbs and all that work that was recently done.
Right.
We want to preserve the history of the community on that side. But what we do hope to do is continue West Catawba. It stops just a little past Jeton Road now.
Right.
Next phase, which we're securing funds and kind of putting away for that rainy day, is to continue it down to Westmoreland.
Okay,
And then
down near Robbins.
that'll be the next phase, and then eventually all the way to Samford.
Okay.
So.
Now, what's going on in terms of housing development? Because there's been a huge change in front of where Antiquity is. One day, I was driving by there and the whole thing had opened up. It looked like a completely different place.
Antiquity actually is one of the few developments in the region that's going gangbusters.
Okay.
It is getting positive reviews around the area, because it's a really pedestrian friendly, a little higher density. It's got there's going to be commercial spaces. There's a linear park that runs the whole length of the community. There's going to be an amphitheater. There is, some of you may know, there's already the covered bridge at South Street that
near
connects
Davidson
connects.
Elementary. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's doing very well.
What's
We're
the
excited.
timing on that?
Well, it's opening. There's folks living there now, and it's one of the few, again, residential areas where they're continuing to sell a number of units, and then hopefully at some point, if we get the North Rail line in, that's exactly where the stop in Cornelius would be for the rail.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's very cool.
I hope that North Rail gets put in. I just
That is a big issue, and we actually have a big meeting at the MTC, the Metropolitan Transit Commission, which I'm one of the 9 voting members. The mayors are in all the communities, and that we're trying to advance and move forward. I don't know if everybody noticed, but even the Charlotte Observer, yesterday's lead editorial, was in support of moving forward on the North Line, which we all think is a very positive thing.
Well, that's good.
Now that's probably not going to be the light rail kind of electrify. It's
It
not going to be
won't
like
be.
it's going to be more like an old-fashioned commuter train, like I took from Westchester to New York City. Right?
There you go. It's a commuter rail. It would be, one of the new modern engines, most likely from the same manufacturer we're using in light rail. But it would actually use the old existing Norfolk Southern rail lines and run right downtown into Charlotte. It was one of the things we just recently had what's called an Urban Land Institute project report done, where we brought in urban planning and rail and road experts from all over the country, and that report's going to be published here shortly. But it talks about the emphasis on the rail line, emphasis on I-77, and a parallel corridor just to the east of 115 to redevelop that whole business area all the way down into Charlotte. It's a big deal.
Yeah,
That'd be a huge project.
Huge, huge. It will generate potentially $6 billion of economic development. It will generate somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 jobs just from bringing in the rail line. It is the economic engine over the next decade for this region.